On the 7th, 8th of December 2022, we'll be having a full moon, and this is a collective message for everyone. Now, the sun is in Sagittarius, opposite this full moon happening in the sign of Gemini. This full moon is coming in hot. Be aware of how you're feeling. Now, full moons are already a time of feeling, releasing, letting go, something coming to a completion. And sometimes it doesn't have to be a bad thing, it can be a good thing. We've completed a project. Other times it can be a completion of a relationship or a completion of a situation maybe that was giving you a lot of stress and tension. And other times the completion can be where you have to release. Now imagine something stressful giving you tension during this full moon, you would be releasing. So remember that full moons are a completion cycle of releasing, letting go, healing, and it deeply is connected to our emotions and how we are feeling. Full moons magnify our feelings. Full moons bring things to light of what we didn't know. We now can see it, just like the full moon is up in the sky. We are now aware of what is hidden. So it becomes a very intuitive time. Now, this full moon is happening in the sign of Gemini. Gemini rules our choices, the duality within us. The duality within us is like, the different sides to us. We all have it, our happy, fun-loving side and our side of when we're feeling not so happy and sad. These are the dualities of emotions that we all share and have. Now, why is it coming in hot? This full moon in Gemini is conjunct Mars retrograde in the sign of Gemini. Mars went retrograde on the 30th of October 2022 and will remain retrograde until January 2023, the 12th of January. So it'll make us want to redo things. It'll be a great full moon to redo any projects or anything that needs retweaking, reworking. That's the energy for it. But because of the choices, Gemini energy, it can make us feel very anxious. Our mind, and Mars is retrograde there. Mars is often known in legend as a god of war. That's what it's known as. So aggravation, annoyance, irritation, what triggers us, triggering us from past experiences, triggering us, especially things that made us feel stuck, like we're not moving forward. And we can all have a general feeling that we're not moving forward. Why are we not moving forward? And this can be very frustrating in all aspects of us. Why are we not moving forward? I really want to move forward. So it's why this energy is so good for reworking anything. But be aware, we want to be acting more impulsively, saying what's on our mind, especially if you've been keeping things bottled up. You now will feel the need to express them. Yes, you can express them. It's not good to keep things stuck within you. But be aware that everyone in your environment, Gemini rules our environment, and this is a collective message, tells us that we need to be aware of our environment. So if someone is not aware of these energies, say they're not aware of the emotions, they're not aware of their triggers, and you now go and say what you need to say, understand everybody's feeling irritable. Everyone's feeling on edge. This is the full moon and, it got us overthinking, got us worked up. This is where we might not be sleeping because we're thinking so much about the different choices that we have and the options and how can we get out of a situation? What is keeping me stuck in a situation? How can I release myself? Sagittarius rules freedom, right? And this Mars retrograde is really what's bringing in the frustration, a feeling of feeling stuck and things are moving, but moving slow, and we'd like to see them moving a bit more faster. And this gives the energy of frustration. So everyone's feeling that way. So be aware when sharing what you are sharing. Think about it before you express it so that you are clear. You are conscious about what you're expressing because you are being perceived. Your words, your actions, how you move, what you say, your body language, everything is being perceived. And this can be written, even your thoughts become highlighted during this time because Gemini rules communication, our communication with the universe through our thoughts. And this is where we can think something and someone all of a sudden comes and expresses it to us. This is the full moon where if there are any rumors, gossips, kind of energy, we can find that too. Gemini rules all information and likes to give us the information. That's the thing. It's the mirror energy. This is the information. You do with it what you will, but this is what it is. Here's your choices. You might not like them, but it is what it is. So ultimately, it would not be a great full moon to be impulsive. It will be a good full moon to redo any projects, redo any work, things that you're working on that you're trying to figure out, and really reworking and thinking about things of how you dealt with in the past when you felt stuck and what got you moving forward and how can you move forward that way. We'll definitely be thinking about choices we've made during this retrograde and actions that we've taken that have led us to where we are currently, and reassessing about our impulsiveness. And Gemini is the energy of impulsiveness. It's not long-term perspective. It just gives you all the information when it comes to Gemini, and it says what it says. And, that's the energy of it. It just delivers the message. And it's not about thinking about how it comes through. So we'll be reassessing our impulsiveness. We'll reassess the impulsiveness within others. And it can be a very harsh full moon because it's conjunct. Think of our emotions being conjunct our anger and frustration, and it's amplified, and we want to seek out this freedom and we want to have the adventure in Sagittarius, but we're feeling like we're not getting there. We're not getting there within our relationships. We're not getting there within where we see ourselves, what we see as our abundance within life. Know that this full moon is releasing what is making you feel stuck, but you need to give it time. You need to give it the energy to work through you. Mars retrograde too is where we can also feel physically like we're lacking the motivation, we're lacking the vitality, we're lacking the will to push forward. Because Mars is how we push forward, what keeps us motivated, what inspires us, what gives us the action. And during this full moon, we just are mentally overwhelmed. So think of all of those things. Take all those scenarios into consideration, because that's what Gemini is. It's all the scenarios into consideration. It's your environment. When doing this full moon, it made me think about, for some reason, like primary school. And when you are in school, right, early grades within school. And this was something I did to become aware of people. And, as children, I was just doing this, where I would sense which children you can connect to. Like, which, as a child myself, like which kids could I connect to and who I could play with and who I could communicate with, and which kids I couldn't do that with. And this was just by observing the mannerism in their tone, right? This is what I mean by Gemini energy. It takes in consideration to the tone, not what you're saying, but the tone, how you move, what are your gestures, are they angry gestures? And like you sometimes on school and you see this kid and this child is just the kind of child that might be perceived as the bully energy, right? And that they kind of just snap really quickly or push other people's things, disrespectful kind of energy. And that's the energy during this full moon you need to want to stay away from. You need to be aware of your environment, and you need to be aware of how other people also respond to stress and their triggers. Otherwise, this full moon can become quite volatile for you. And that is totally the Gemini energy. Because if we think Gemini, we think information learning, education. So when we are educating, that's when we're starting in grade school and so forth. And how we perceive our environment, who can we make friends with, who should we not make friends with, how can we approach situations, how can we approach people. So if there's anything you need to get off your chest, be aware of that before expressing it. You don't want to find yourself in a volatile situation. And because it's the sun opposite the moon, it's me against this person, it's me against the situation, it's me against this information coming through. And we can find ourselves both internally conflicted and externally conflicted. Best for moon to take a step back, to process all the information coming your way, the deceptions, the rumors, and how you're being perceived as well. What choices you have made that have led you to this path, and how you can now redo and make better choices. That's what this full moon is about, making better choices from looking at the choices we've previously made, what led us to where we are feeling a bit stuck, like we're not moving forward, and how we can move forward. And give yourself the space and time. Mars retrograde is like a stop sign. It is an energy where we feel like we are lacking the motivation, we are lacking the energy, the luster to really go for it. And this full moon can make us all feel a bit wound up and stuck. So breathe. This is an air sign full moon, so breathe. Take a moment to breathe. Take a big breath. And everything that you do, remember during this full moon to take those moments. If you need to express yourself, be prepared. Express yourself and be aware. Don't just impulsively express yourself, and watch out for others that impulsively express themselves to you. because that is going to trigger you and it can get really heated really quickly. And because Mars is retrograde, it's like if we get into an altercation journey with Mars and if it's not retrograde, we can get over it pretty quickly. It was heat in the moment and we move on. This would be the time where it will just like stay. I impulsively reacted, or that person impulsively reacted, and then I reacted and it blew up, and now I'm stuck in this situation. So be prepared for that. We can feel very anxious, mind, Gemini, overthinking, different choices. What part can I take? Which way can I move forward? Which is the best way for me? And we are getting a lot of spiritual support because Jupiter is in Pisces, it is direct, and Pisces is a spiritual energy. It's about completion. It's about connecting to our higher self and highest good. And with the Sagittarius energy, especially with the Sun being in Sagittarius, Venus being in Sagittarius, this energy is still telling us, okay, focus on my independence and freedom and how I can free myself. I might not have the answers. I might see the different parts available to me. But I'm going to take a moment. Mercury will have just moved into Capricorn. And I'm going to process everything and think long term and what is of value to me and how I can move forward of value and what conversations will be of value and what conversations will just be a waste of time. And the Gemini energy can sometimes do that, give us situations that are just wasteful when it comes to our time because it's so impulsive and reactive. It's going in different directions. It's giving us this information. You know, it's up, it's down, it's not stable energy. And with a full moon being in a sign that is so mutable and, you know, gives us so much information and gives us so much of choices, it can feel very overwhelming. So take a moment, the answers will come. Just don't impulsively do anything during this full moon that you later regret. And if anyone does anything during this time that, you know, there is no coming back from, this full moon will give you a perspective into how they react to situations. It can be a time for growth, maybe a learning, you know, can happen within the relationship, or it can be a time to say goodbye. And whatever information that you find out, because Gemini loves to give us the rumors, the gossip, the scoop, the tea, right? Be prepared for it. And be aware that the information that you are receiving is there for your highest good and for your healing. And it can give you the scoop too if you want to use it for work situations, problem solving, redoing projects, reassessing situations, reassessing your life choices, reassessing how you can move forward. It'd be great for that kind of energy. Be aware about the conflict that wants to come through during this full moon, especially with the full moon joining Mars, God of War energy. So take a moment, take a breath, don't react, right? Be conscious of the movements, the choices you are making, and take a breath and take it slow, right? Mars is retrograde, saying take it slow with what you were doing. Move slowly, take action slowly. Don't be too quick with what you're doing. Don't move in haste, right? To build solid foundations. Thank you so much for watching. Do like and subscribe. My website's linked down below if you'd like a reading. There will be a link for the new moon reading as well, and also a link for appreciation of these videos. Have a beautiful full moon.